사랑하는 친구들 안녕! So in our previous episode we talked about imperative mood, and those of you who may not know what that is, it's basically commanding people and telling them what to do. But how do you tell them what not to do? Because sometimes that seems to be the most efficient way to communicate with someone, and that is what we'll be dedicating our episode today, so let's get learning. So in order for us to create a negative command, we need to use a verb, 말다. It doesn't really have a dictionary meaning of its own. It's just kind of this verb-like part that we add to another verb to make it negative. And of course we need to use it together with the negative particle 지, which we add to the stem of the verb, like 공부하지 말다, 가지 말다, 먹지 말다. With that said, these constructions aren't really yet sentences, and they don't really mean the exact don't study, don't eat, don't go. Because we need to conjugate them, and we need to add the imperative endings, depending on how formal we want to be, to the verb for it to actually make sense. Hopefully that made sense. Alright, let's go over how we make commands in Korean. So like I said last time, there are 4 ways. And the first one is very simple. It's basically the regular conjugation where we add 어 or 아 to the stem of the verb, like 먹어 or 가, 앉아. So with this negative command, what we would do, we would take 하지 말다, we would keep 하지, and then we would conjugate the 말다, because that's kind of the verb ending. However, this verb proves to be irregular in certain cases, like this one, so we don't just add 아 to it, making it 하지 마라. So what we end up having is 하지 마. So if we want to say a blunt negative command to someone we're really comfortable with, whom we don't have to be formal with, we just say 하지마 or 가지마, 먹지마, 앉지마, 일어나지마. Next up, we have the elderly grandparents, parents commanding their kids kind of way of commanding, where we add 어 or 아라 to the stem of the verb. Same thing happens here. We take 하지 말다, take away the da, we're left with the stem, 말, and then we add 아라, and again, because it's irregular, we end up with 하지 마라. Not 하지 말아라, but 하지 마라. And then it's simple. 하지 마라, 가지 마라, 먹지 마라, 일어나지 마라. Next we have the more formal ways of commanding someone, and that is something I would suggest you guys learn really well, especially the 으세요. Because that is what you would generally say to strangers, people who are older, or even the same age as you who you may not really know that well, and you don't really feel familiar with them. Korean politeness is all about familiarity, so even if you're the same age, even if you work in the same company, or this person may be even younger than you, to be honest, I would still refer to them in a generally polite way, just because I don't want to let them know that we're kind of close. It's pretty much a social clue for people to kind of figure out that, you know, there's a boundary between us. When it comes to 으세요, it's very straightforward. We take 하지 말다, get rid of the da, and then add 으세요. So 하지 마세요, 가지 마세요, 일어나지 마세요, 앉지 마세요, 먹지 마세요. And then lastly, we have the super formal 십시오 command. Once again, super simple. 하지 말다, take rid of the da, add 십시오, 하지 마십시오, 가지 마십시오, 먹지 마십시오, 앉지 마십시오, 일어나지 마십시오. Simple. Alright, one last thing I thought I might as well kind of throw in, because it kind of relates to giving commands and negative commands and positive commands, so it's kind of a nice way to sum up last week's episode and this week's episode. So what I want to talk about is a way of combining a positive and a negative command in one sentence. And it is really, really simple to do. And we actually do that by using a connective particle we're all should be pretty familiar with. I am certain I've mentioned this connective particle in one of the multiple weekly Korean episodes before. And this particle is go, which basically serves as an and in a Korean sentence. So the way we can combine negative and positive command is if we add the go to the negative verb. So 하지 말다, we get rid of the da and we just add the go. This is where the conjugation is very logical. It's not irregular. What we end up having is 하지 말고 blah, 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 positive command after that. if you want to combine a negative and a positive command, I would suggest having the negative one first and then the positive one following up, because it's just easier to construct. An example of that would be 매일 같은 운동을 하지 말고 많이 쉬세요. 매일 같은 운동을 하지 말고 많이 쉬세요. Don't do the same exercise every day and rest a lot. Another example would be something like 그렇게 하지 말고 내 말을 들어봐. Don't do it this way and listen to my words. I'm sure all of you have noticed that I did something different with the last sentence at the very end. I'm not gonna let you know what it is. You guys have probably figured it out. If you don't know exactly how to use that kind of ending, please look forward to the next episode where I will be explaining exactly that, and I'm really excited because there have been a lot of people asking me about the use of 보다, which technically means to see, but in Korean it can sometimes be used in a totally different meaning, so that's what we'll be looking at next week, and I really hope you'll tune in. And for now, hold tight and wait until next week. Yay! I hope you all have a wonderful end of the week and the weekend. Those of you who are like me and you're in the UK and you're starting uni next week, brace yourselves. It's just one more year. I've got this. Alright, I love you all guys. Stay well. Bye. 안녕.